Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. I'm here with RJ William. How you doing, RJ?
Hey, John. Great to be here.
You're RJ3, in case you didn't know that.
I'm RJ3, yeah, because there's a RJ of the island, and then
Right.
there's RJ of Critical Blast. And
Correct.
Me.
Yeah, you
just had the
unfortunate circumstance of being the third RJ to come on my channel. So,
but you could say I'm not the same one as RJ of the island because we have been in the same place at the same time.
You've met him?
Well, I've been on with both of you guys.
I thought you were gonna say you actually would like.
Oh no, not in person.
I was gonna say, what does he look like? and it's funny because somebody said like, oh, they told me like, oh, you could go to this and see a picture of him. I was like, don't ever send me that link. I don't want to know what he looks like. Like as I say to RJ, it'll only be a disappointment.
It's like a masked superhero.
Hey, how you doing? Hooded Raven is here. He was just over on Screecher on Nick Phoenix's channel.
Yeah, he's good people. I like Nick.
Oh yeah, Nick is one of the first people who came on my channel. You know, so I'm pretty loyal to people like that. So Nick is always welcome. And when he invited me on his channel, I was like, I've never been on your channel before. I don't think so. Yeah, of course I'll come on. Yeah. So you got Luke Stone drawn comics for you. I got Luke Stone drawn comics for me. Do you want to fight? Do you want to fight it out? See who gets to own Luke Stone?
Arm wrestle for Luke.
No, seriously. You got a book called Call Sign Orion, and I'll bring it up in a minute. And I first saw Luke's artwork. I think it was Chrome Dog, right? Chrome Dog.
Yeah, that's the first book of his that I saw too.
Yeah, and I liked his artwork, and I was like, this guy is. You know, he's got a lot on his plate, Luke. So, like, if he was to just stop preaching God and all of that stuff and just draw comic books, because that's what's important, he could be like a John Byrne type guy, and you know. So, and then I saw him draw your book.
Yeah, I was gonna say John Byrne. He's already got that style. So he drew this like a year ago,
I'll make
and
you
this
big.
page, it's got that feel, you know.
Yeah,
that's just classic. That's just got this classic feel to it.
Yeah.
This is the Moss Gloss page, by the way. If you get the shinier paper, I think it pops a bit. If I turn up my light, it like picks it up.
Yeah,
so,
it's so good.
You can tell how shiny that is.
So
it's just a higher quality paper than standard.
The last time you were on my channel, I forget, a couple of months ago, I reached out to Luke and I said, "Do you want to draw this story?" Because when you have a bunch of comics, right? You don't just have Call Sign Orion.
That's my only one. I have another one that I have different artists on Global Comics. That's a free one up right now. It's called Agent Ronin. It's kind of a supernatural spy thriller kind of thing.
I read more than one comic. So
I just have I mean, technically, I guess I got two now, but yeah, my only actual book that I'm working on is Call Sign Orion. So that's being drawn now.
Because I was working with Red. And speaking of artists, I got Ron Mosicki over here. How you doing, Red?
Yeah, Ron's done some work. It'll be featured in the book too.
Oh, good.
Kind of a Frazetta style with Lena Riley, the news reporter character I have, and Orion, the main character. There, he did some really good ink there.
Yeah, Ron is another guy that give it different circumstances, he would be a comic pro. You know, he is a I didn't send Ron a script, but I sent Ron an idea. I said, I really want to work with you, and I know you got other things going on in your life. I said, how about if I send you a script, and whenever you just feel like it, like no pressure, no deadline, you know, a page, a month, you know, whatever, because it can't go in for a couple of issues anyway, and so he's going to work with me. And the sad thing is, I got a couple of deals that I have to work on now, so I didn't even send him the script yet. But check this out. This is the bad guy. This is Curtains. And Curtains is the most despicable being in the world. You know why? Because he's a theater critic. So, Kurt, you can only imagine what the story is going to be. A supervillain.
He looks evil and intriguing and poetic. He kind of looks like a fat Riddler, sort of, I guess. How I imagine the Riddler would be if he were real.
Don't you want to beat this guy in the face, just unmerciful? Just look at that. Ron really made him despicable. Oh man, I can't.
He looks. You can tell he's evil somehow.
Right.
He's not doing anything
evil. He's evil in a way that other evil people like. Dude, don't put me in your group.
Well, evil like in like Caligula, like fancying himself as a poet, like a Nero sort of evil.
It's funny, when I described them to him, I said, he looks like Oliver from the Brady Bunch. And I forget the age difference. So Ron had to look him up, and he was just like, oh, dude, that is going to be creepy.
I have another, the Frazetta style thing, Ron.
Okay, let's bring down mine. Let's bring up yours. Is that Luke? No, that's Ron. That's Ron. There you go, Ron. Look at that.
Yeah.
Is that a cover?
That'll be in the book too. No, that's fan art. It'll be in the book.
Oh, speaking of fan art, let's see. Since we're talking fan art for Ron, he sent me. I didn't even ask him to, and now I can't figure out where it is, and I'll spend a year and a half looking for it. But he sent me Patriarch fighting the Raven. Oh, here it is, and look at this. I'm going to stop yours, and I will bring this up. I didn't ask him to do it. He just sent it to me, and now it's going to be the cover it's going to be the variant cover for Patriarch number 2. Look at that.
Can you zoom in on that?
I'm sorry?
Can you make it bigger?
Can I zoom in? How do I do that? There we go.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. He just said, give me a couple of words about the city itself. I said it's futuristic. So he imagined like these futuristic spheres on, but that is awesome. And because of that, I was like, would you be interested in doing a Raven story? Raven's going to be like, my Batman type guy, And he was like, yeah. So I was like, I got this story idea. I told him the villain, and he's like, I'm going to draw up the villain. And now, once I saw him draw Curtains, I was like, all right, well, what is going on? What is going on? I'm boomering over here. Can I hear? And here's another guy, Marcus. I sent him a script, and it's funny. I'm sorry, I'm talking about my stuff. We'll talk about your stuff in a second. It's funny because I had this idea for a character, and I said, Marcus Kellegrew's art, is what was in my head when I was writing the script, And when I wrote the script for a Sleeper Agent, I was like, Luke Stone's art is So now I've been like writing scripts and then asking people. Like I did this story set in the Old West, but it's not a cowboy story. It's a really weird Western story, but it's not a cowboy story. It's a strange adventure that happens to be set in the West. And I said only Fabrizio Aiello could draw it. So he's got the same thing. Whenever he can, he'll send me a page. But anyway, enough about that. Let's look at everybody's comments, and then we'll talk about your stuff. We got Yang Yao Zhao, another guy who draws pretty good. Yang, are you drawing comic book pages? See that we got Creators Outlet saying hello. Ron is I couldn't say no to John. What sucks, the comic book creators don't get a lot of light. I'm even bad at this one. I go look at Comic-Con site. It's the famous, that was fun to do. Whose art that the two guys fighting was Ron Mosicki's art, and this. Oh, it was all Ron. It was all Ron.
Yeah, they're both Ron. Yeah,
because Ron did he did half of Heroic Tales #1. He did the suit, and Ron was super quick, unbelievably quick. He did everything that I asked. He followed the script really well. He followed my script so good that he made a creepy page even 100 times creepier, to the point I almost threw away the story because I thought it was so disturbing. But I was like, no.
It had the desired effect. I know the page you mean. It had the desired effect.
Yeah. To the point some people like, whatever. I'm like, yeah, bad guys do bad things, people.
Shocker. Bad guys are bad.
Yeah. But Ron just leveled it up. And in a perfect world, Ron would be drawing Batman right now. You know, he's so good.
Yeah, I could see that.
And in a perfect world, Luke Stone would be drawing like a legion of superheroes or something, you know, like a space superhero epic. He's so good. And Marcus,
he's got a pretty good space epic. I'm just saying.
Marcus should be Marcus. How about the Hulk? I could see Marcus doing the Hulk. You know, drawing the Hulk. That's well, RJ. Let's take over Marvel. Me and you. Let's go. Let's go.
Have you? Speaking of mainstream, have you seen the new Superman yet?
Yeah, that page was not fun to do. I didn't. Yeah, sorry, Ron, that I made you draw it. Sorry, Ron. And I'm glad that I got the flack, not you, Ron. I'm glad that I got the flack. You know.
So we're gonna fight over Ron next?
Yeah. Me and you. Let's fight. Let's fight. You look like you're in shape. I don't know.
Like rock paper scissors or
whatever. I was going to tell a story that I decided it would probably, my lawyer would say, keep my mouth shut about fighting. I did not see the Superman movie yet. I for two reasons. I have low expectations, so I wanted to hear what people have to say. I have three reasons. I don't want to go to a crowded movie theater. I hate to say this, but in this world, I'm the guy in the movie theater going, is that the guy with the gun who's going to start shooting? Is that the guy with the gun who's going to, you know what I mean?
I'm the guy with the gun.
You know, you would take out the guy with the bad guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're the good guy with the gun. I live in New York, so only bad guys have guns.
Yeah.
So that I can't help but think of it. So I try to go to like less crowded showtime. And third, I don't want to be preached to. So I'm hearing some people like it, and I heard everybody said it's not preachy. So I will probably go see it next week.
So I just got back from the theater. It's actually really
so you're
good.
Fresh. What's your fresh take?
I highly recommend it. It's really good. Not everyone's going to love it. If you're a Snyder bro, you're probably not going to like it. But if you could just take the movie for what it is, it's more of an upbeat, more closer to the Christopher Reeve Superman.
Good.
Not trying to copy it, but closer to it.
Good.
If you could take it as that, then I think you'll enjoy it.
You know, everybody loves the first two Christopher Reeve Superman movies were flawless. Just
yeah.
Good. You know,
yeah.
I every time I say this, people get mad at me, but I hated Man of Steel so much. I stopped seeing all DC superhero movies. I haven't seen, well, I take it back. I've seen Wonder Woman, you know, but all my friends, and that was excellent. The first Wonder Woman, but whatever his name, Snyder's fundamentally got Superman wrong in my opinion.
He did. I've learned a lot because I have a video where I would definitely disagree with myself now. A video I made 2 years ago. I'm going to leave it up on my channel still just to show, opinions can change. But I've learned a lot about Superman since then, and I have definitely come to see things as you do. Like he got it wrong.
You originally liked Man of Steel and now you don't?
I didn't hate it. But now I agree. Like, I think Snyder really got it wrong.
Right.
So Superman, as you well know, was written by two Jewish New Yorkers, and it's kind of an immigrant story. It's also kind of like a Moses motif with him. And Snyder took that. He's like, well, he's going to be Jesus from Krypton. And I always thought he always got that part way wrong. There's a lot of movies where they have Christ-like figures, only he didn't really, I don't recall him like sacrificing himself.
It's fair
unless you count Batman versus Superman.
So that doesn't bother me. What bothers me is, first off, they took out Truth, Justice, and the American Way. That bothered me. And the other one was when the father, Dad, I rescued those kids. And then the father says, well, maybe you shouldn't have. No. Clark Kent's dad would have been like, well, now you saved those kids. Good job. Now we're going to have to deal with the consequences. Now I got to, you know what I mean? That's the way Pa Kent would have been in my mind. And if you, Superman was like instilled with this pro-life values because of like, the wholesomeness of his parents. And for the father to be like, let me die in a hurricane. Don't rescue those kids. I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, that was a meaningless, stupid decision on Snyder's part.
Yeah.
A lot of cool people in the chat. I'm just watching all.
Yeah, a lot of people. We got like over 55 people watching. Thank you guys.
But yeah, just
hey, we got
bad. It was a bad choice creatively.
And that ruined it. I did like the Wonder Woman movie to the point like I understood why they put it in World War One because the Captain America movie was World War II, and I really did like that it was a World War One movie. It kind of gave it like its own unique flavor. The bad part about the CGI battle at the end was it just looked like a bad video game, you know, and the bad guy was just so obvious coming. But the scene that got me that said they get Wonder Woman was when the sniper was trying to snipe and his hand and he was shaking and he couldn't do it. And he's, he was like getting all teary eyed and he was like, I failed everybody. And I was getting teary eyed watching it. And then later on, you see him playing the piano and everybody's dancing. And Wonder Woman says, that's why you're here. That's what you have to. And I was like, that's Wonder Woman. She had that. Again, I'm a conservative old timer, but she had that like feminine grace to her that like she understood that people need like a reassurance and like the fact that this guy can't kill anybody, but he could play the piano and he got everybody out of hiding. And I thought that scene just encapsulated everything that Wonder Woman should be. Like Wonder Woman is not, yes, she is a girl boss, but she doesn't need to remind anybody she's a good boss. She doesn't have to rub it. Just the fact that she shows up with her goodness and charisma and yes, her femininity and everything, for her to say I'm a girl boss means she failed. If you got to remind people that you're an alpha male, that you're a girl boss, that I'm kicking ass and taking, then you're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you have to say it, then it's not true.
Let's not forget that she got excited to see a baby. Yes, well, for two reasons. First, that she's a woman, and second off, how many babies are there that she grew up with? That might as well be a unicorn. But yes, I understand. So I really liked Wonder Woman. I didn't even see 1984 Wonder Woman. I
could tell it was 1984 was going to be too on the nose, with the Trump references. And like season 3 of Stranger Things was the exact same way, like very on the nose. It was pretty obvious what they were doing. Also centered on a mall for some reason and like a rich blonde, like real estate tycoon. And it's super obvious, and no, it's just not fun.
Yeah.
Her character in the second one, as I understand, didn't make very good like Wonder Woman like ethical choices either. But I agree with you. In the first movie, she was consistent with who she's supposed to be, and I also like the World War I choice because that's closer to like when she came out, and I don't know the era, the idea of what it was to be, I don't know. It's become a dirty phrase, but strong woman. Like what it was to be was like still being a woman, still being feminine, just also strong and admirable and strong character. And she was all those things. So it was a well done movie. The villain was very predictable though.
The second movie, I didn't even want to see. Once I saw that Chris Pike was going to be in it, or Chris Pine, is that his name? Chris Pine. I was just like, I'm not going to see this movie because to me that shows that they didn't have storytelling as the most important part. Like, he was popular. We got to bring him back. Well, he died in World War I, right? Am I remembering wrong? Did he die at the end of that movie?
He did.
Yeah. So forget about him. You chose to kill what's his name? Steve Trevor. Live with that. Commit to the bit. The fact that they were going to bring him back by hocus pokery showed me that they weren't taking it seriously. And that was before I heard about all of the, Trump derangement syndrome and
the irony of that is she did it. He had to go into some other guy's body like without his consent.
Right.
And hired Me Too. So
it was like season 2 of Heroes. Siler got to be such a famous bad guy that they rewrote the script and changed everything it's like commit to the bit, man. Just be glad that you made a villain that everybody loved, and now you got to twist the story arc around this, and it didn't work. Now he's this guy's brother, and he's this, and he's not really eating brains, and now he's a good guy, and you ruin the show. But that's my big thing. The storytelling was off, so I could tell. You killed off Steve Tyler. I keep saying Steve Tyler. That guy's immortal. The guy from Aerosmith. him and Keith Richards will be like playing chest with the souls of men someday.
They made a joke about that in Wayne's World 2 back in the 90s, and it still holds true. Like they sleep upside down or something, and that's their secret.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm way off target, and you got a comic. I'm going to bring up your comic campaign. Call sign. Where is it?
Call Sign Orion is it's an action-packed dystopian. It's an action-packed dystopian sci-fi in the spirit of classics like Starship Troopers and Brave New World, with a little bit of Battlestar Galactica thrown in. There's a lot of space battle, dogfighting, explosions, babes. What's not to like?
Yeah.
I'm out of these pop sockets. I was gonna show them off, but I promised them the first 10 backers, and we're past that now. But
so
I still have
if you back this comic book, it comes with this woman's phone number, and you can call her.
Yeah, no, but there is a trading card that she has signed. This is just the proof, but she signed the trading cards. This is her character, Lena Riley. She's the April O'Neil news reporter type character of the story.
Yeah, I'm trying to sell comics for you, man.
Yeah, she signs it and puts her phone number on.
Yeah,
no, she's happily married.
Call me. She says, "Yeah, I love lonely nerds." That's what she says.
Yeah.
I was trying to show how Luke draws. I was going to bring up another Luke Stone image, but I can't seem to find it. But anyway, I saw the
draw those. I got 4 pages there. Those are all Luke Stone pages.
Yeah, look, we got dog fights. So, you were talking about, you wanted to talk about faster than light travel and star.
Oh yeah, you on Sunday you were talking about like space physics, and I even brought my 3D assets, my 3D prints of the F-26 Aerostar, like you see on one of those pages. Then I did my best at painting one. I went to the Warhammer shop and painted this one.
Let's go through your campaign, and then we'll talk some space physics.
Let's do that. Let's nerd out.
Nerdery. So this is Luke's. Like I said, when I saw this artwork, and you know how the internet works. If I say, "Oh man, I like this," I liked Chrome Dogs. I like the art in Chrome Dog. Okay, so Justin, don't come at me. But he got so much better with this. And I'm trying to find.
Time went by. Honestly, he even told me after these pages, because these were drawn a year ago, and well, was it 2 years? It was a year ago. Yeah, it was a year ago when he started drawing this, and since then he's improved a lot. He even told me it's gonna almost look like a different artist did it, because it's gonna be so much better in the later pages. And I've seen the works he's done for you, and I could see what he's talking about.
Yeah, I'm sending you this on Twitter because I can't figure out how to do it, but I want to show this page that he drew for me. I got to stop this screen, and I'll bring up your campaign again. But look. So, like I said, we'll be fighting over Luke's time. Well, I told Luke to take whatever time he wants, but
you don't want to rush Luke along. Like, he took a while on my cover, and you can tell how good that cover is.
Yeah, but this is the first page for the Sleeper Agent. Look at that. That is so
that's
good.
Amazing detail. It's just all around.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's everything I asked for in the script. And the only thing going to be crazier than this is the next page is a 2-page. Like, this is, in the fairy tale world of this guy's dreams, he meets his dream woman, literally his dream woman. They're announcing their marriage to the kingdom. And then the next page is the camera turns around and you see everybody in the crowd. And I described, I feel like Alan Moore. I took like 2 pages describing this one. It's a double-page spread. And then the last thing I said is go nuts. And then Luke's like, can I really go nuts? I got this. I was like, yeah. It's
you want to get nuts?
Yeah, it's a fantasy world. Go nuts. So I can't wait to see what he does. But anyway, he got so much better. And I want to bring back your campaign. So yeah, like I saw this artwork and I'm like, if this guy quits everything else that he does and makes peanuts as a comic book artist and lets his family starve to death, this guy will be an awesome John Byrne level talent.
The world will benefit so greatly if you just let his family starve. If you want to blow up the cover, I think that I'm so proud of that cover he did.
Yeah. Who's your colorist?
It's Patrick Gamma, same as Chrome Dog.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But that was a big part of what drew me in, because I knew there was going to be this space battle on the nebula, and I kind of visioned the colors being a certain way, and what I saw in Chrome Dog is what first kind of drew me into Luke, and Patrick Gamma was a big part of that.
Yeah, I'm just going through the chat. I thought I saw a good question here.
Hey, Jid, thanks for joining.
Yeah,
that's an inside joke with Nick Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
He kept saying it's Morbin time in the chat, and he made Nick go ballistic.
Oh, driving. Who is this cover?
That is Doc Blaylock and Anthony.
Oh, okay. I thought I recognized him. Doc is a cool guy too. I love Doc.
Yeah, so I approached Doc Blaylock because I really liked Damn Dirty Thing, and I like how they made their cover look like a movie poster. And so I asked Doc, can you do the same thing for me, but we'll make it look like a retro 70s, 80s sci-fi movie poster? And I gave him some, like, posters as references. I can't really see that.
Damn Dirty Thing, the novel?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, nice.
Dan Blaylock, whenever he comes on the channel, my wife is like, that's the guy with the voice I like. He's got a cool voice.
I'm smoking.
Yeah.
And that's the magnet. There's my magnet. Here's what the magnet's like.
Cool.
I like things that are shiny. So this is the same design that'll be on the patch, which is the stretch goal that we're stretch goal of 2,000. So we're almost at 500, almost a quarter of the way there. $10 away from 25% of that stretch goal, get a patch like this, but the magnet is an add-on. So
cool. Yeah, I like your ship designs.
Thank you.
You had
these stickers are free.
Okay,
first
cool.
Like 100 backers. Yeah.
Cool. What am I doing? Okay. So what do I was talking about it in Heroic Tales, my comic? There's alien races. Of course, we didn't meet them yet. There's hints of them in the first issue. And I was talking about different types of space travel. And on Friday nights, I do a show called It's Clobbering Time. And one of them that we did was who would win in a fight, the Galactic Empire, Star Wars, or the Federation of Planets, Star Trek.
And
I kind of did that. First off, I thought it would be fun, and it was. But I wanted to talk about the different types of fantasy space travel. So who do you think won that fight? Did you happen to watch that episode or remember?
I didn't watch that episode because I jumped in on that conversation on Sunday. Somehow we were talking about like sci-fi and like superhero physics and comics. And but if it were between the Galactic Empire and the Federation of Planets, that's so hard to say because in Star Trek they try to be more realistic. Right. And Star Wars is total space fantasy, so they don't care so much.
I will say this though: if you take out the Jedi stuff, it's pretty realistic. It's just World War II space battleships and
yeah, you've got to think it's World War II style warfare. Yeah,
right. You know what I mean? So like in that respect, but like once you start adding Jedis, well then all right, then we're going to bring in Qs. So we kind of just made it like the Empire versus the Federation. No Siths and Jedis and everything like that. Because now they're just superheroes now. The Jedis they could heal through galactic distances and teleport. But who I'm just curious. Who do you think would win?
Well, I don't think the Federation has anything that could destroy a planet in one shot like the Death Star. So I'm going to give it to the Galactic Empire.
And you're wrong. And here's why you're wrong. Because the Empire, their means of faster than light travel is they basically take hyperspace routes.
Yeah.
They don't get to just go wherever they want. They have to go through routes.
They have to go the routes, yeah.
And they come out of hyperspace out of a route, and then they have to travel at sublight speeds to get to where they want. Whereas it's
like a highway, yeah.
Whereas the Federation, they warp. They go exactly where they want to go at faster than the speed of light. So they could get to anywhere fast. Now, if you really want to get super technical, they're in different galaxies, and the Empire would have to map out all of these routes and discover all these routes. But let's just say that whatever. So I think that the ability to travel wherever you want because they could take out that Death Star before it gets within range to use that super laser, things like that. And TIE fighters aren't going to get through Federation shields and So I thought just the mobility of the Federation is the tactical advantage.
That is pretty huge.
Hughes and Jedis.
Yeah, that is pretty huge in sci-fi. Like, are you familiar with the 3-body problem?
It's funny because there's a girl in my game group that brings it up often, and I got to read it.
So in the 3-body problem, we discover the Trisolarans. They're more advanced than we are, but they're from extremely harsh conditions in their solar system. So they're a lot older, but they don't advance at the rapid rate technologically that we do because their planet is so harsh. And when they discover us, because they don't have faster than light travel, and they know how quickly we've progressed technologically in the shorter time we've been around, they figure by the time they get to us at sub-light speed, we'll be more advanced, and their fleet will be outdated and inferior. So it's an interesting conundrum when you're dealing with.
It's sci-fi, but it sounds like it explores real science.
Yeah, very much.
And did they just make a movie, or did I imagine that?
They made a show, so it's only 1 season right now, but I think they're gonna do a second.
Okay, what would you recommend, the show or read the book? I'm sure the book is better.
The book is almost always better, but I'm going to go a little off the rails. Did I get a backer? Oh, thank you. Who backed?
Yeah, I got to get
Jid.
I got to get like an animated thing. Who was it? Jid M?
Jid.
I'm for that because it was on my channel.
There you go.
Good.
You don't have the Luke Stone flip the bird dance.
Since
where's the dance, Jid?
He backed it while live with me. He gets that girl's phone number. That's the rules. So you got to tell her. You got to tell her.
I'll see what I can do about that.
It's funny. It's gonna be you. What are you wearing? So what else? So in my world, there's 3 types of space travel. One of it is warp, and to me, warping space is kind of like Dune. You fold space, so like it bypasses the laws of physics because you don't really travel faster than speed. You basically teleport. So if you got a big ship, like when we played our role playing games, that we had a space adventure. The engines, could they be fired more than once? So like they're super intelligent. Reed Richards guys would make them more efficient. So instead of needing 16 hours to recharge, they only needed 12 hours to recharge. So but just to make the math right, they could warp 1 light year a jump. So to get to Alpha Centauri, it would take 4 days or 5 days, 4.3 light years. You know what I mean? Things like that. And that just made the math easy. And then of course there was the other faster than light travel, which was true faster than light travel, hyperflying. And in my world, only because it's based on a superpower, like Superman flies or the Patriarch flies because they have the power to fly. You just ignore the physics. But to make it interesting, you have to be consistent with how you ignore the physics. Otherwise, you could just have plot power. So people could, like the Silver Surfer could fly faster than the speed of light because he just has that power to fly. So in my world, you can't replicate that with a machine. You have to have a living, organic thinking linked to the imagination. They have to imagine that they could do. Artificial intelligence, as we know it now, will never be able to pilot a ship faster than the speed of light. So those are the 2. And then the third one I don't want to talk about yet because I want that race to be a surprise when they show up. How do you think faster than light technology should work in your comic books, since you wanted to talk about this?
So in my comic books, faster than light, or FTL, as we say in this sci-fi world, it works. So for humans in the Diaspora universe, that's where Call Sign Orion takes place. We discovered an alien race that's from the Andromeda Galaxy. They're super ancient. They're called the Vateri, and they gifted us a lot of their technology. And so for us, FTL travel is a gift. And But you could because it's so advanced, it could basically. It depends on how long you shoot, like a beam that would warp, that would warp matter that you could fly through. So it's basically folding space and going through things. But if you warp something for too long, it just deteriorates. But if you warp it for like a nanosecond, then it's like X-rays flying through. You don't feel it.
Okay.
And because so you would have to use it in combination with like fast engines like this. So if you're flying, at a super high rate of speed and you're warping, then if a ship flew through us right now at that speed, you wouldn't feel it at all. If you were only warped for like not even a split second, it'd be like X-rays going through you.
Okay.
But if it happened for like even a measurable amount of time, then you'd just be ripped apart.
Okay. I forgot there was, in my world, there's 4, because there's hyperspace flight, like the Star Wars flight. You basically go into a hyperspace lane, like go to another dimension where the laws of physics. So 1 mile equals, a parsec or something like that, and you do that, and that's going to have consequences too. So that there's 3 ways, but that way is you don't have, just like Star Wars, you don't have precise control. You have to go where the highway goes. So you follow the route, then you come out, then you go at sublight speeds to finish the journey. So there's warping, basically teleporting, going into hyperspace, and then true hyperflight, which only metahuman, superhuman beings could do. And then the 4th way, which I won't explain, because that race I want it to be a mystery. They're the most advanced race in the galaxy. Of course, they have a secret.
They have lots of secrets.
Yes, we're talking about ludicrous speed and even beyond plaid.
That's how I treat the Vateri. They have lots of secrets. They're not. They have lots of civilizations. They've evolved in many different forms. So you're just not going to learn everything there is to know about them right away.
Right. Yeah. I love a good space adventure story. And yours is set like 1,000 years in the future.
Yep.
Yeah.
1,000 years. Yeah. So the technologies. What's that?
Oh, good. I
was just gonna say the technology is way more advanced than 1,000 years in the future, but that's because the Vateri and they've just gifted some technology to us.
Are they friendly aliens? Do they have an ulterior motive? Is it like to serve man kind of reasons, or is that spoiler?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no. So there's a lot of different Vateri, and they're not all friendly to each other, and they are so far advanced, like evolutionarily, we would be insignificant to them, but they don't treat us as insignificant for reasons I won't give away yet. But they are interested in what happens to humans, and they kind of take different sides in different human factions. So it's kind of like, Native Americans and when Europeans were in America, they kind of like took sides of different European nations, and the Vateri are sort of like choosing what humans they want to align themselves with.
Yeah. Oh, we're some Indian tribes hated each other and allied with the French against the English. That we all think that the Indians were just this one peaceful monolithic culture that no, they hated each other. I don't even want to get into that, but that's the biggest.
It turns out people on every continent just fight each other.
Right. Humans are humans.
Exactly.
Some of them are nice. Some of them are pieces of crap.
Yeah.
That's just the way. That's the way it is. All tribes. I was going to ask you another question. Now I got distracted. I was going to ask you. They encounter an alien race, and that jumps them up, because one of the problems I always laugh at when I read a comic is like, this comic came out in 1968, and they're talking about the future of the year 2006 when colonizing Mars, and now like 2006 came by, and it was just like the biggest advancement was like I could order McDonald's from Grubhub.
Yeah.
Oh, here you go. Invent time travel, go back in time, give yourself future technology, rinse and repeat. Do you have any time travel in your sci-fi stories?
No, there's no time travel. It's too easy of a writing loophole, I think. I don't want to give myself that excuse.
I love time travel, but I am probably the harshest time travel critic. Like I don't know how I don't know how I stayed with Doctor Who for as long as I did, because the time travel rules, like this is a fixed moment in time, unless it's not a fixed moment in time. Like, I get so crazy about time. Like, I could go on and on and on about how Back to the Future made no sense when you break it apart, but it works for a popcorn movie. Like I'm like, oh, it's a popcorn movie. It's not, ultimately you just hand wave. But like when you get to like Star Trek doing time travel, oh my God, it drives me nuts. I'm like, you guys are supposed to be better than this. So I don't, make a long story short, I hate Endgame because they just use time travel as a cop out.
Mm-hmm.
They wrote themselves into a corner. And I even said that because I liked Infinity War, and they're gonna do a time travel cop out, and it's such an easy cop out. I don't like it. Have I read the book?
It is too easy. There's no stakes when you can time travel easily.
Do you have a favorite time travel movie or book?
Not really. I mean, Back to the Future, I guess. Like, I do. There are stories with time travel that I like, but like, there's none that I think are like, oh yeah, I love that one.
my
not in a series. Like Back to the Future is fun,
I like 12 Monkeys. To me, is the best time travel movie.
Okay.
I like the guy goes. Bruce Willis goes back in time to stop a particular event, but you can't. There's only one time. If it happened, it happened. So him going back in time, he just like incorporated himself and basically caused all the events that I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was so good the way they did. So in Heroic Tales 4, tentatively 4, I'm going to have my multiverse story and my time travel story. Try to just, this is how this crazy person deals with different universes and time travel. Like, you're going to see it, they're not cop outs. They can't be a cop out. I don't know. I'm just a super picky about time. There's a movie about these office workers that find time travel and they build this device. They use a storage unit, and it's such a good time travel movie that it's boring because you can't figure out what's going on.
So like, yeah, there's no like time machine per se. I should correct myself. There's I don't want to give this away. There's no time machine, I'll say that. There is ways to, I don't want to say travel is the right word. There's ways to make time different. And like, as we understand physics, like that is possible, but like, I don't have like a time travel machine.
Right. Like, are you talking like relativist?
Yeah, through relativity, like time could be different, and that does down the line affect a storyline I have in my head, but it's not a time machine. It's not time travel.
Have you ever read the Forever War?
No, that's on my list of books I want to get to.
Yeah, I only read the comic book version of it, and I find it to be so sad. These soldiers, they just travel at light speeds, and everybody they know is dead. So like they become like really close to each other as a unit because they literally been fighting for centuries, but in their world it's only been like 6 or 7 years, and it's they become like their own little culture because they've been fighting this, and they're like legendary soldiers that just pop up every once in a while, kill everything, and go back into these speeds. It's actually pretty sad. Make time different, like a time zone. I love Back to the Future, but I'm trying to find Tom Holland and Robert Jr. Yeah, that would be funny. So I talk a lot. Anything you want to talk about in your comic?
I mean, I could talk about anything in my comic. If you want to talk about like soldier units, we could talk about the Alphas. They're the Navy SEALs of their time. That's what follows. So Orion, he's kind of like a crossover between like Steve Rogers and Xander Cage, Triple X. He's from a dystopian planet. So in his time, the UN is like the global government of Earth, and they're like an expansionist Soviet Union kind of power. So that's the dystopian aspect of the book. And they have, so Orion is just his backstory. He's in prison and he's selected for his abilities, and then he gets biological enhancements. So that's kind of like the Captain America part, and then becomes a leader of like what's their version of a Navy SEAL team. They're called Alphas, and because it's the future and everyone gets around in ships, the Alphas are mainly a fighter squadron, and they specialize in space combat. So that's why they're sent in for this hostage situation. Because their enemies, the NIR, they've captured some civilians, and they're demanding the release of their leader, who's a brilliant strategist. And rather than let such a dangerous person out of a supermax prison, they send in the Alphas to free the hostages and take out the bad guys.
So Earth has, in your comic, Earth has expanded and colonized worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Is each world its own government, or is it like an
yes and no?
Okay.
So there's independent planets. So the timeline is Earth has a global government. There's all kinds of turmoil on Earth. We do eventually make contact with aliens, the Vateri, and then we colonize another planet called Avalon, and the humans through Vateri technology they colonize other planets too. They terraform other planets, and on Avalon the humans and Vateri kind of mix and create a hybrid species called Edrin, and they're the majority population on Avalon. So the Edrin, they're kind of like elves, like in Lord of the Rings. They're like the more enlightened version of human beings. And then there's like kind of like I guess you could say Gondor, that's the planet Leoness. And then there's other civilizations, like Pegasus is a planet that's like the Old West. And they're all, like cowboys, basically. That's where one character, Diana, B cover, you could see her, and she's also on one of the pages on page 22. It's the fourth page down there. So Diana's from Pegasus, so she's basically a cowgirl, and she's a medic in the Union military, and she's also one of the hostages that Orion's going to rescue. And she's also Orion's ex-girlfriend, so
okay,
personal stakes. And so you kind of got like your it's got that element of Firefly, I guess. You got the people like living in like the rugged outskirts, and then you've got people from more advanced civilizations, and then you've got like the dystopian type of civilizations. So all these planets, they're called the independent planets, the ones that aren't under Earth's rule, and then Earth's kind of expansionist power is called the Union, and they're kind of like a Soviet Union. But not in like the miserable 1984 kind of way, more in like a Brave New World. We exchange like freedom for pleasure and comfort kind of way. Yeah. So they're happily oppressed.
It's funny because back in college, when I read all of those novels, mm-hmm. I was convinced that 1984 was more realistic, and my friends were like, no, Brave New World is more realistic. And now I was like, no way, there's no way we're going to crave our oppression. They're going to do it against our will, and we'll be afraid. And now as I get older, I'm like, we are, I'm just looking around, like during COVID just showed we want to be oppressed,
Yes, we want comfort.
We want
comfort. That's why. So this is the Lena Riley. She's kind of like the face of the propaganda machine. And like, we see all this stuff on X, and I joke about it. Like, the propaganda machine's like really ugly. I'm like, at least make your propaganda machine pretty, and people will go along more willingly.
Yeah.
But that I think that is like the way to really get people in a free society to go along.
So she's like the face of the government, like when she comes on and tells you what to think, what your current opinion
is. Yeah,
is.
she's like a news reporter, but she's the most mainstream news reporter there was. That, by the way, I think is the most far-fetched part of Superman. The Daily Planet's still around, and they're legacy media, and they're not super corrupt. That's more outlandish than an alien flying around in a cape.
Right. You expect me to believe that people still buy newspapers?
Yeah. Right.
That's a good question. How does the Union deal with religions? Not just Islam, but is it clamped down? Like, is it enforced?
Same way the Soviet Union deals with religions. There is none. Imagine no religion. Yeah. The John Lennon way.
Nope.
Yeah. No possessions.
Now, what like is Mars like an Earth colony?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mars, the belt, just like an Expanse. But then farther out than that, like Titan is where all the most rich and powerful people live, and of course they're all government bureaucrats, but rules for thee, not for me. They're living large up on Titan. They have a supreme leader, and they kind of do have a state sort of religion, and the supreme leader is just like the figurehead of the state and the state religion living on Earth. But the rest of the rich and powerful people of the government are living on Titan, living large. That's like the Monaco.
Humans go and they live on this planet and they interbreed, create like hybrids.
Yep.
Is that like, is there like a cedar race, or is this just a coincidence that they're able to? Because you know what I mean? Like I'm a big fan of Carl Sagan, and he was just like, if we go to any alien world, odds are we wouldn't even recognize the life. You know, it would be he goes, right now a tree on Earth is closer to us than any possible alien that we could ever find. You know, so you know, so
I wouldn't say they're that foreign to us. So like the Vateri, they evolved in a lot of different forms. A lot of them just live in space and don't need a planet. But the ones we make contact with, they're sort of like, you could say, the Amish of their species. They've chosen to live on that planet because they want to live on a planet. They have physical bodies without like mechanical enhancements because that's what they've chosen. But they live in a way that's one thing I like about the Vateri, like what I find most interesting about them, is they act morally, but not because they are moral, but because they're experts at long-term decision making and finding the most beneficial outcome long-term. So they act morally because they understand beneficial outcomes. So, and because of that,
they're the exact opposite of the normal human.
Right, in that way, yeah, for sure. Exactly. They're expert 4D chess players, you could say, of life.
Yeah.
And because of that, they don't even need a government. They don't have a government. They just live harmoniously through mutually beneficial action. And the ones we make contact with are just kind of living happily on this planet. And then, you know, we make a hybrid species with them, and they're half human, but they kind of have that same mentality, you could say, that so they don't have a government either, and they just act beneficially with each other all the time.
I have a race that they're actually close to us in Heroic Tales. That they're the actual closest living planet, and they're a colony of Earth. Spoiler alert. There was advanced civilizations. They actually left and colonized, and then they survived the catastrophes that reduced us back to the cavemen, and we restarted. And they look at Earth like we can't contaminate it. So they're just watching Earth like as a petri dish. Like we escaped, and when they got to, they brought that old Earth mentality. They fought with each other to the point, like, because they're on a new planet, they had to terraform it and everything. Resources was scarce, and they started to become like Ayn Randian. No charity, no help. There was like a purge. But 10,000 years later, these guys are like titans. Each one of them is like a superhero, and the only time they get together is to keep their world hit. So like it can't be scanned, it can't be found because their technology is so good. Like if we were to look radioscopes up, we would just see like a void. They just hide from us, you know, and they watch us. They know all about us. They treat us like sociologists, but they're not going to help us, and they're not going to help you. Like it, literally, if you know, a mother and a father are walking down the street with their baby and they see their next door neighbors with an arrow through their head, they would be like, no, it would be improper to help him. If he can't survive, the kid's like, oh, I see, because it'll just make us weaker. You know, that's how they got rid of like AIDS and diabetes, and, you know, and it's harsh. So, you know, when we finally meet them, they're going to be like, why are you helping other planets? Like they're the ultimate, like super Ayn Randian, you know, aliens. I can't wait to introduce them, and to the point, like they're so advanced, like each one of them is like super intelligent, super strong. You know what I mean? Like one of them could probably take out like space marines. You know, that's it's the perfect survival of the fittest over 10,000 years. You know, they'll help their children to a point, and now it's time for you to survive on your own. You're able to feed yourself. They seem kind of harsh, heartless, but it was the only way to survive on that harsh planet. I kind of like, objectivist Spider-Man. Their whole planet of objectivists, pretty much. When I read about Steve Ditko, I got real fascinated about Steve Ditko years ago, and I was like, what would be the end product of objectivism? And that's thought experiment led to this planet that I would like to introduce someday. Do you like doing that, making up civilizations?
Oh, I love doing that. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. I love that part of world building. It kind of got me thinking though. I don't want to spoil Superman because you're going to see it probably.
I'll right now, I'll just ask you direct. Does it preach to me?
No.
Good.
No,
that's it.
Not.
I just didn't want to be preached to. That's just, to me, that's the ultimate sin. I don't want to pay money and then you're going to tell me. I don't even want to be preached to my politics. I just want to go see a freaking Superman movie.
Yeah. It doesn't preach to you. It definitely follows Mike's number one rule of writing: entertain.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll see it. So
Mike Baron edited the script, by the way, of Call Sign Orion.
Oh,
but
Mike Baron read my Mary Sue story and said it was compelling and good.
And
which is good because the first comic that he commented, his comic was, it's better than anything Marvel's putting out right now.
Yeah, so, he said it's better than the bleak Marvel and DC are publishing, but you don't want to sell for that.
Right. I was like, okay. So damning with faint praise, but this one he said it was compelling. He goes, I really liked it. So self-promotion, when Mike Baron says that, I can't help but get a swelled head. But what were you saying? There was a spoiler that you want to
talk about? So in the beginning, so what I like about this Superman movie, one thing I like about it has a lot of pros, and I'm going to do a view on it, but it drops you right in the action, which I appreciate because like Batman and Superman, they're pushing 100 years now,
we all know the origin.
How long we've known about them. We know the origin very well. We don't need it again. They drop you right into the story that's ongoing. Superman and Lex have been at each other for a while now. But it starts off by saying like when metahumans were first became common knowledge, and it was like 300 years ago. So I'm wondering in the DC universe, what metahuman is that old? Well, I mean, a lot of them, I guess, but like what metahuman do you think would have popped up around that time?
300. So
I wonder what they're planning on doing with that.
Well, they had in DC, they had Vandal Savage. He's been around for 40,000 years.
Yeah, they got some super old ones, obviously.
Yeah, but like, Ra's al Ghul,
who would have popped up 300 years ago?
Years old, and I'm sure as blasphemous as Black Adam. Yeah, there you go, Black Adam, the Wizard Shazam. I know that there's
any one of them could have, yeah.
Right, the Super Chief, the buffalo-headed Indian guy. Now that I'm thinking about it, so they have some old.
Yeah, they definitely have some old ones. I'm wondering. Yeah, I was just wondering who's about that old. They obviously have some that are thousands of years old, millions of years old, but who would have popped up I wonder what they're. It seems like a very specific amount of time, so I wonder what they're planning on doing with that.
Yeah, Green Lanterns. I think in DC they visited the Earth in the past. They had
yeah, and there are Green Lanterns. In this, there's Guy Gardner.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like it. It sounds to me like they're doing like the Silver Age. You just open up the comic and start reading. It's already assumed what Superman is. You already know the relationship, which is probably a good thing because what are they going to tell the origin again?
Yeah, you don't need it again.
I don't need to know Peter Parker. I don't need to see Uncle Ben die again.
Right. Yeah. I think James Gunn was joking about like you don't need to see the pearls fly through the air again and kill the Waynes. Yeah, that's what I think. If it's been done so many times, you don't need it again. So I like that they just drop you into a story.
Good. So it's 8:00. I know you can't stay too late.
No, I do have to be going pretty soon.
Is it overly jokey?
No, people said that, and there were maybe a couple scenes, like 2 or 3 out of the whole 2-hour movie that maybe they could have held off for this, the seriousness of it. Will have had a little more weight, but when I thought about it, all those scenes were sandwiched by some serious scenes, so I felt like they kind of paced it out pretty well.
Would you recommend the movie?
Absolutely. I'm probably going to see it again. Yeah.
Good. So I'll go see it next weekend then.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four. My expectations are
Did he turn Superman into Star-Lord? No, I don't think he did. Like, there's that one scene in the trailer where it seems like he did, but like again, it's sandwiched by heavy things. So I feel like the way it played out was decent comedic relief.
I tell you, Peter Gunn himself and the trailers did not help this movie. You know?
Oh no, they didn't. No.
Although, like the very first teaser one, when you saw Crypto, me and my wife watched it, and she just turned to me and goes, "We can see this movie." She got so excited to see the Superdog, and I think the normies are going to go nuts for Superdog. You know, we as Americans, we love our dogs. You know, I think worldwide,
we were almost ready to do something about that Fauci guy when we found out about the dogs. Never mind all the people.
I know. Geez, don't get me started on that. The trailers were bad. The trailers really didn't help. So I'll bring up your campaign one more time, and we'll end on this. The call sign Orion. Every time I play a trailer, I get not a copyright strike, but like a warning. So I kind of have to stop.
I think I got a new backer since we started, so you might want to hit refresh on that.
Or I almost hit the wrong button. Let's hit the refresh on this. Yay!
We are above a quarter of the way to our stretch goal. Yeah, so our first stretch goal is 2,000. We get a patch. So Thank you, Jid, for the bump, my friend.
Yeah, this looks good. I gotta look. I forget if I backed or not. I get embarrassed because sometimes I think I backed, and then I see everybody getting their books. I'm like Broken 3. I'm like, where's mine?
Oh, yeah, I've done that with some other people, and then I back late. I'm like, oh yeah, is there like a catch up or something I could get?
And then there's like today. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go pay a bill that I gotta go pay, and then I'm like, what is this $63,000? Oh yeah, I backed Psychic Sam on Kickstarter. Kickstarter drives me nuts because 6 weeks later I forgot that I backed. So I'm like, oh man, now I can't go to McDonald's for lunch. But there you go. This looks awesome. I got to check to see if I backed. I think I did. This looks awesome. Then what do you think you'll be shipping?
It depends on when the pages. I mean, there's pages in progress, but I can't tell you exactly when they'll all be done. It is a 42-page book. We got 4 pages complete, and then another in progress right now. And with the funds I have raised, I'm already paying Luke to make those pages. So
okay, cool.
I can't give you his exact timeline, but I could promise quality work, and it is going to get delivered. So that's a guarantee. Even if I don't fund,
where do you see his new pages?
I'll make sure it happens. Either way,
he leveled up. His art just got so much better. To the point I know Luke. He's like, I got to redraw the first couple of pages because he's got so much better. He really did. All right, I'm gonna shut it down. I'm gonna go have some dinner and then go to bed. I'm an early to bed, early to rise kind of guy. Anything you
that
want
makes sense. No, back the book. Call sign Orion. Help us get that patch. Help us get that stretch goal. By the way, the other stretch goal is a cosplay cover of that lady who everyone wants her phone number.
Yeah, it's gonna have her phone number right on the on the bottom.
So help us get to the stretch goals. Help us fund. Get an awesome book.
I'm setting you up for like, where's the phone number? A bunch of lonely guys like,
yeah, you promised the phone number. Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, everybody, and I'll see back. Call sign Orion. It looks good, man. It looks good enough that I went and hired Luke too. That's
right.
I can't make it more honest than that, right?
Yeah,
I'm putting my money where my mouth is. So thanks a lot, everybody. Bye.
See ya.
I'll see you tomorrow for who do I have tomorrow? We got It's Clobbering Time. It's Azrael versus Moon Knight. And who is my 7 o'clock conversation tomorrow? I don't have anybody for 7 o'clock. I don't have anybody for 7 o'clock tomorrow. So we'll see what I'm gonna do. Maybe we'll just have an open invite or something like that. All right.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.